I'm Chloe Melville.
I'm Jenna Hirschfeld.
I'm Mylan Harder.
And our project is going to be delivering educational robotics instruction at Physically Active Youth, which is an after-school program in Kazakhstan, Namibia, where we will be completing our IQP.
Namibia lived under South African apartheid rule for many years, only recently gaining their independence in 1990. The apartheid brought laws of segregation which forced separate facilities based on race, and even uprooted many natives to live in informal settlements on the outskirts of town. One of these informal settlements is known as Katatora, which in Herero translates to, "We have no permanent place for the place we do not want to live." Today, Katatora is home to over 60% of Windhoek's population, however it only settles on about 20% of the land. Katatora faces overpopulation and rural poverty, which can lead to a negative impact on students in the classroom. The lack of resources provided to segregated schools during apartheid has led to a long-lasting effect on the education system today. Dropout rates are high, and many of Namibian youth turn to drugs and alcohol or even partake in gang-related activities. Few continue on to tertiary education and do not fully understand the opportunities that they could be taking advantage of. Our sponsor, Physically Active Youth, has devoted their time to decreasing the gap in education. They provide the support necessary for underprivileged youth and strive to prepare their learners for a positive future.
Physically Active Youth, or P.A.Y, is a free after-school program for children in Katatura who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. It was founded in 2003 as a pilot program to evaluate the impact of sport on educational success, and since then has been expanded to also include academics and life skills. P.A.Y is run by a combination of full-time staff members and volunteers and has become an extremely popular program in Katatura. P.A.Y utilizes a community-based approach to create a developmental and healthy environment for children based on their 3 pillars of successful education, life skills, and sport. Every year, 120 participants between the ages of 6 and 18 are registered on a first-come, first-served basis. These participants come to P.A.Y every day after school, where they first receive a meal, then receive homework help and tutoring in a variety of subjects, finally followed by an hour of sport. Once a week, there is a life skills program that includes topics such as substance abuse prevention, healthy relationships, and career guidance.
Our sponsor at P.A.Y, Tuba Sabanda, challenged us to create an educational robotics program for her students. In the words of Tuba Sabanda, educational robotics is an unconventional way to help students in learning mathematics, sciences, or even arts, and to implement novel learning approaches such as constructivism, project-based, and problem-based learning. Educational robotics has been used for many years in classrooms to engage students in learning STEM curriculum. It's been used to establish technical skills and life learning skills, such as project-based learning. Project-based learning is used to give open-ended problems to students that they have to use critical thinking skills and teamwork skills in order to solve. The teamwork skills and critical thinking skills are something that our sponsor is very focused on at P.A.Y.
In order to address the challenge presented by our sponsor, our methodology is split up into 3 steps. The first will be creating lesson plans for an educational robotics curriculum. The second will be delivering those lessons once we arrive in Namibia at P.A.Y. And the third will be evaluating both our teaching and the lesson plans that we create for the effectiveness in order to reuse them in the future. So the first step is to develop a hands-on robotics curriculum that inspires STEM amongst the students at P.A.Y. We're going to be teaching students from grades 1 through 12, and we'll be developing the lessons for the robotics education curriculum. We developed a lesson plan model based on effective, proven pedagogical styles for primary and secondary learners, specifically within robotics education. Our approach includes identifying the main idea, the key takeaways, and the overarching ideas that we want the students to understand. Next, we are going to create a detailed procedure, paying close attention to the timeline of the lesson as well as the instructions. We're then going to activate the prior knowledge of the students and build upon what they already know, and then introduce the new material through lectures and activities. Throughout all of these lessons, we're going to guide their understanding with probing questions and then assess their understanding to kind of gauge what they got from the lessons. The concepts that we're going to cover through our lessons include programming, computational thinking, the hardware and software of robots, as well as critical thinking and teamwork skills. We are going to evaluate the lessons that we create through an advisory network of teachers and an evaluation plan. We're going to direct a saturation feedback loop in order to improve our lessons. We're going to send our lessons out for teacher review and then edit them and make revisions based on the feedback. We're then going to repeat that process and continue this cycle until we receive no new feedback. This would indicate data saturation, indicating that our lessons were satisfactory.
The next step in our methodology is going to be delivering robotics kits, lesson plans, and any other necessary materials that we will be using to implement robotics lesson plans and engage the students in the material that we present. We will be teaching lessons throughout our time at P.A.Y. over the 7-week period. We will be starting with grades 10 through 12 and then be going down in descending order of age based on how P.A.Y. organizes their grade levels. During week 5, P.A.Y. is going to be closed, and during that time we will be doing preparation for their 2-week science camp. At the 2-week science camp, we're going to be presenting them with a robotics competition that we have developed, in which grades 5 through 12 will be working to design and build robots to compete in this competition. During the first 4 weeks, we will be teaching each of these grade levels 1 week at a time, where during 4 days out of the week, they'll have 45-minute daily lessons with us, and on the 5th day of each week, they will be going to their life skills, where we will be doing a robotics club. The life skills program at P.A.Y. occurs every Friday, where students learn different life skills as well as go to different clubs such as soccer, cycling, and chess. This is where our project comes into play, where we will be developing a robotics club for these students. Our intention with this club is that the older students will be learning more in-depth concepts about these robotics. They will be learning more about the mechanical side, about the software side, and then be learning how to implement any of these robotic skills into their real world. We're also hoping that the students will be able to teach the younger students as well, mentoring them and giving them more understanding of how the robotics work, and then also roping it back into any real-world applications that they might be able to apply with these robots.
After the completion of the lessons, we will develop a small-scale robotics tournament within the organization during the 2-week science camp. This competition will involve students in grades 5 through 12 and give them an opportunity for a free build experience as well as to understand the components of a robotics team. The different teams will have mixed age groups in order to ensure equal skill levels as well as promote mentorship between the older and the younger students. The teams will compete in a bracket-style tournament with 3 different games, allowing them to develop their teamwork skills, collaboration, and also providing exposure to the competitive fun atmosphere of a real robotics tournament. Additionally, this tournament will lay the foundation for P.A.Y. to create an active robotics team in the future. At the end of our project, we will develop a practical toolkit for P.A.Y. to utilize in order to replicate our lessons in the future. This toolkit will consist of 3 different parts: the lesson plans, the video database, and the VEX robotics kits. The detailed lesson plans will be organized and given to P.A.Y. staff, including evaluations of the daily successes and challenges. The video database will include recordings of all lessons and competitions in order to give an accurate representation of both the delivery of information as well as the engagement of students. In order to do this, a camera will be placed in the back of the classroom and set to record every lesson and competition in full. Additionally, the VEX robotics kits and the competition field will be left at P.A.Y. for future use.
The final step in our methodology is the evaluation process, with the intent of assessing challenges and successes in order to establish a practical toolkit for P.A.Y. So at the beginning of each week, we'll be providing a pre-assessment to each of the grades. This will consist of questions such as what is a robot and what can a robot be used for. We will use this information to adjust our curriculum as necessary to best fit the current understanding of our P.A.Y. learners. The assessment will also include questions pertaining to interest and future aspirations, like would they like to go to college and what would they like to study. This will be used in conjunction with our post-assessment, which once administered, will provide us with the information necessary to analyze whether there was an overall increase in interest and understanding of the material. Daily, we will conduct a sticky note activity meant to measure the excitement of the students' engagement in our activities. We will place a board at the front of the classroom with a series of faces, each pertaining to a certain emotion. The students will be asked to place a sticky note under the face that they feel best represents how they felt about the day's activity. The numbers 1 through 5 correspond to a certain emotion and will be utilized by the group to create averages based on the students' rankings when we analyze the data. Overall, this will help us to understand what further adjustments need to be made to the curriculum and what activities the students enjoy. Our final step will be to provide a series of recommendations based on our experience with the project. We will provide recommendations for classroom and project-based educational robotics, including challenges that we face and ways to improve or avoid those challenges overall. We will address ways that you can best engage students and ways to improve and ways to teach across a wide range of age groups. We will then provide recommendations for P.A.Y. on how to utilize the toolkit and ways that they can improve and expand upon the foundation of the curriculum. Lastly, we will provide recommendations for future IQPs, those with similar fields of study and those that will have the chance to work with P.A.Y. again in the future.
We have been fundraising through a GoFundMe page to supplement a grant that we received through the P.A.Y. Tinkerbox program. The funds are going to help us in our endeavors to purchase VexIQ robotics kits to take with us to Namibia, and then also to pay to send them with us as we travel. And this is also in addition to any supplemental materials we may need in order to complete our lessons. If you would be interested in contributing to our project, we will be very appreciative. And you can follow the QR code, the link, or the Venmo address on the screen. And we would be more than happy to address any questions that anyone might have at this time. Thank you.
Questions? Yeah.
Very, very nice presentation, enjoyed it a lot. I was curious, do you know what kind of experience the teachers there have with problem-based or project-based learning? And are you gonna have to kind of teach them some of those techniques also, or is that pretty familiar to them, do you know?
There's one teacher there who has worked with robotics in the past, and they've done some of that. As far as the project-based and problem-based learning, it is pretty minimal, so that's why we're trying to introduce this program to kind of bring that to P.A.Y. So that'll be part of what we'll include in our recommendations for them in our toolkit at the end that kind of outlines how we go about it.
Yes.
During the proposed competition you guys are doing, you said it was for 5th to 12th graders, right? What will the 1st to 4th graders get to do during that, / is there another activity back then?
Yeah, so at this 2-week science camp, P.A.Y. just structures it so that it's only the 5th through 12th graders. Yeah, so that's why it's just that group. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you already identified the teachers that you'll be getting feedback from?
Yes. We've started the process.
What part of all of this are you most excited about? What's the thing that is really firing up right now?
I think inspiring STEM is really a very cool prospect, because a lot of them don't even kind of have that idea of going to college. Speaking, there was a group that went last year and also worked with P.A.Y., and when we talked to them, they said that a lot of them didn't even know what a scholarship was, or the opportunities that laid ahead in tertiary education. So kind of giving them that idea, showing them what they can do within this field is really exciting and important. Yes?
How do you select the particular platform that you've chosen to teach with, and is your GoFundMe program going to be sufficient to procure that kit?
Yeah, so when we were figuring out which kits to use, we went through a whole process of looking at different things that are on the market today, trying to figure out what would be within our budget. We chose the VexIQ kits because they fit pretty well within the budget that we felt like we could acquire, and worked well with how many robotics kits we could get from there. We also used those kits because we realized that they're a lot more intuitive for people to use. They're a lot simpler than something like a Lego NXT kit. I know not a lot of people probably know that terminology, but Lego pieces are basically a little bit more complicated than the VexIQ pieces. And in terms of fundraising, we started with a $1,000 goal. We got Tinkerbox money for $2,500, and then we started getting a little bit worried about our funding, but by reaching out to a contact at Vex, they were able to give us a 50% discount on the kit that we were looking for, which cost $5,000. So we were able to use our $2,500 from Tinkerbox towards that, and now we're fundraising extra in order to cover shipping and any other supplies we might need.
Yes.
So you mentioned making videos and handing them off to P.A.Y. How well do you see that working in terms of sustainability? Do you plan to reach out to them after the project to see if they're still utilizing those?
Well, we haven't really outlined specific plans for reaching out to them after the project, just because that's a little bit outside of the scope of the 7 weeks. But the group from last year did record everyday sessions, so we're planning on kind of continuing with that and then also uploading them into a database to be able to have them all in one place for them to locate.
What's the thing that you're most worried about out of all of this?
We did go teach a practice lesson in a 5th grade classroom in Worcester, and we kind of made the lesson a little bit too challenging for the level that the students were at. So I think personally I'm most worried about creating a lesson that is both challenging but still they understand the main concepts and are like learning from it.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Oh, sure. What's up? No, I'm not up yet. I just need to ask him. Do you want one long video or 5 short ones?